All right, everybody. That does it for the game. That does it for the season. And hopefully that does it for significant chunks of this regime. But we'll talk about that later. Seahawks win 21 to 20. Of course, during the last, I want to say maybe 8 or 9 minutes of that game, we knew that it didn't mean nearly as much as we were hoping. We knew that the Packers had already won their game, so there was no playoff spot for the Seahawks to potentially take. So we knew that it was just kind of playing for pride at that point, playing for a winning season, playing for another fourth quarter victory. And we did get it. We did get it. It looked really, really bleak at one point in this game. I basically counted us out. I counted us out when Arizona was lining up for that field goal to make it a two-score game with 3 minutes left. We caught a fortunate break when he bricked it, and then Geno does what he's done all season, leads us down the field, hits Lockett for the touchdown, hits Lockett for the two-point conversion, and the defense does what it's done all season. They give up a long drive to let up a game-winning field goal, and kicker missed it again. So I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm really happy or ecstatic that the Seahawks won this game. I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm really excited. I'm not going to sit here and act like it's a big deal. It's not any of those things. But I am going to also take it in stride as well. I'm not one of these fans that's all angry that we won this game. I know some people are. Guys, I kept an eye on Tankathon throughout this game. We're currently picking 16th in the first round. If we had lost this game, we would have picked 14th. Life is way too short to care about the 14th pick versus the 16th pick. It just doesn't make enough of a difference. It's not worth throwing a game. It's not worth throwing a game. If it happens outside of your ability to influence it, great, but it's not worth throwing games over. I don't want to build that kind of loser culture in my team. I don't want to build that loser culture in my organization. Yeah, this team does bad things. Yeah, this team is going to lose games they should win. This team will underachieve. I don't want them intentionally throwing games. So I know the players are out there trying their all to win, so I'm going to have nothing but respect for that. But I know that there's another angle here, which is, hey, if we had a losing season, maybe we would have fired Carroll. Guys, the people who make these decisions are not stupid, and they're not 5 years old. They're not going to use a meaningless Week 18 game to decide whether or not coaches get to keep their job. If we're going to fire Carroll, we're going to fire him. If we're not, then we're not. That decision is made extremely independently of what happens in the last game of the season. That, again, when you've already been eliminated, the difference between keeping and firing a coach is not 9 wins versus 8 wins. So don't even trip on that stuff. Just watch the game. I understand not being happy about it because it didn't mean much, but don't think for 1 second that Pete Carroll just saved his job because Matt Prater missed 2 field goals in the last 3 minutes of a game. That the people who are making this decision are smarter than that. All right, so this game, I mean, it was frustrating for most of it, right? It started out pretty good. I was happy with that first half. K9 looked really good. We were running the ball pretty well. We actually were stopping the run decently for most of that game in the first half. And I was like, okay, I'm starting to feel at the very least this team is not throwing in the towel. They're not giving up. Um, there were some things holding us back. We had like 3 or 4 dropped passes in that first half. Geno wasn't playing all that well, although the drop passes obviously kill. The offense to me just looked weird and out of sorts and out of sync. So I was just looking at this team and thinking, well, they're not playing very good, but they're not that good. They're not a very good team. At the very least, I can say they're giving effort. They're trying. They're putting their all into trying to win this game. They're doing everything that they can. And then the second half hit. The run defense completely deteriorates. And again, I don't think just the fact that we won this game should be some big savior of this coaching staff. We gave up about 200 yards rushing in this game. We gave up like 450 yards of offense in this game. It was probably more, actually. It was like 460. And that Cardinals offense is not good. And I know we're on the road, and I know that James Conner's playing great football, but at the very minimum, the minimum, Clint Hurtt needs to not be here next year. Clint Hurtt needs to not be here next year. If we're being honest, I don't know if moving on from Clint Hurtt's going to help anything, but it cannot get worse. Not really, anyway. I don't see how it can get worse. We just played 60 minutes of football against the Cardinals. We had 0 sacks, 0 turnovers. Somehow we only allowed 20 points because their kicker kept missing kicks, but it was a miserable effort from this defense. And even though we won this game and by some definition held up, which not really, but by some definition we held up, don't let that be something that saves these people's jobs. So the second half, the offense struggled for most of it. It just looked weird. It looked like we didn't really have a coherent game plan. I don't know what was up with the way we game planned today, but it was very odd. And it looked bad for a little while there. It looked really bad for a little while there. We looked like one of the worst teams in the league. We looked like a team that had quit on the coach. We looked like a team that had just kind of given up. And then we caught a couple of lucky breaks with missed field goals. And Geno did what he's done all season, lead us down the field late. Beautiful pass to Lockett. Now, that being said, Geno did not play a particularly great game. Geno did not play a particularly strong game. And coming out of that game, I don't think people are going to have a ton of confidence in Geno being the guy going forward if they didn't have it before. Me, I'm totally fine with it. I got no issue with it. But that's a conversation for another time. Suffice to say, in this game, he played okay. A lot of the incompletions happened at the end of the first half, and there were a lot of drops. The ones at the end of the first half don't really bug me that much because realistically, realistically, they were a lot of just throwaways to stop the clock and just preserve the field goal opportunity, so I'm not really tripping on that. I am kind of tripping on the fact that we abandoned our passing attack completely during the midpoint of that game and basically just tried to run the ball. It felt like we ran the ball like 13 straight times at one point or something crazy like that. It was weird. It was a very run-happy attack, and I don't totally know where that came from. Like, I understand you want to run the ball, you want to have balance, but at the end of the day, this team is still powered by their passing attack. They're powered by their skilled receivers. And this is another game. I think DK had 1 or 2 catches. I think JSN had 1 catch. Lockett had 2 catches. That shouldn't be happening in a football game with this team. That's not something that needs to be happening. I think Charbonnet might have led our team in catches, him and Dissly. Speaking of which, it was nice to see Dissly catch a touchdown and have 2 other catches in a game that might be his last game as a Seahawk. It was nice to see Evan Brown in maybe his last game as a Seahawk not make any big mistakes. I thought the interior offensive line played a little bit better than usual, although it's a very low bar to clear, admittedly. Special teams were pretty good, I guess. No complaints there. So I'm not impressed, obviously. I'm not impressed with this team, but I'm not unhappy either. I'm just kind of taking it in stride. I'm just kind of taking it in a measured way. I'm not going to be one of these fans who's going to act like this is some big deal and I need a party and take my shirt off and scream on stream and be like over the top about it. But I don't understand the people who are upset about this. Trust me, guys, not much of value was lost today. What we lost in draft capital does not matter. All right, I don't really know what else to say here. The run defense, I mean, we didn't have Jaron Reed, so it was kind of expected, and then we lost Jordan Brooks, so I kind of get it, but then again, I don't. Like, it just blows my mind that this team gives up. We gave up nearly 200 yards rushing in our final 4 games. Like, the Eagles ran all over us. The Titans were running all over us. It was... and of course, then these last 2 games have just been even worse. Like, it blows my mind that you can spend the whole offseason trying to fix your run defense, and you end up with a run defense that is about as bad. That's the part that really gets to me. And it's not just the run defense. Don't get me wrong. The whole defense is bad. And we're probably going to end this season ranked about 23rd or 24th in points allowed per game, somewhere around there. I'm guessing somewhere around 23rd, 24th. and that's almost the worst we've ever had under Pete Carroll. So please let there be some significant changes. Obviously, this game is not going to make me back off my beliefs at all. I still think Carroll needs to go. I still think that we need some big changes with this team and the way they're making decisions. I want to see something different next year, but I don't believe for a second that we're going to get it, and I don't think there was any scenario where we were going to get it going into this game, so I'm not going to sit here and be upset about the fact that, oh, we won. I don't get into that stuff so much. So, um, that's it. That's all I can say. It was an okay game. K9 played good. Geno got it together by the end. Great to see Lockett win the game there at the end. Loved it. I'm happy we went for two at the end. I would have been mad. I would have been furious if we had kicked the extra point there. Like, you guys have no idea how upset I would have been if we had actually kicked it there. Witherspoon, I thought, played a really good game on defense, I guess. Complete lack of pass rush is definitely something that I'm going to talk about later this week. But overall, I guess the tackling was a little bit better. And at the end of the day, I mean, the pass defense is showing signs of improvement. Not much, but a little bit. The pass defense, I think a lot of it is because teams don't feel the need to pass on us because they can run on us. But straight up, like, that's actually the strength of our defense, as sad as that is. All right, I don't really have too much else to say here. 9-win season, no playoffs. I'm not going to sit here and be upset at the Bears. We had the opportunity to take care of this last week, and we didn't do it. All you had to do was beat a third-string quarterback at home, and you didn't. So there's no part of me that's like that. But what I am going to say is real changes need to be made this offseason. See you guys later. Go Hawks. More stuff later.